Hey guys, thanks for joining. I'm playing with TikTok's enhanced features. I don't know if you guys can hear that music as well, but I'm hoping it's making this little intro bit a little less dead silent and awkward just while I wait for people to join. I hope you're all doing really well as well. So many nice notes right away. Thanks for that. I can add a sticker. I'm just playing around with some of the features. So hang out, chill, grab a drink before we get into questions. But if you have product UX design questions right off the top of your head, drop them in. First come, first serve, always. So I will start at the top. So I scroll back to the top, drop whatever is on your mind. You do hear the music. Cool. Okay, thanks for confirming. I was curious. It's very jazzy. They give you like 6 options. And so I just picked the one that was seemingly fine. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. See a bunch of junior questions. Nice. Research questions. Cool, cool. Keep them coming. I will wait until I said I'd start this thing it's 7 p.m. my time, so we'll give it a few more minutes, but feel free to keep them coming. How's everybody else doing? If you don't have any questions or you do, feel free to drop where you're from as well. I always get so interesting to see where you guys are joining in from. So let me know what country or state you're from. That'd be super cool. I assume PD means product designer. 11 p.m. in Kazakhstan. Nice. That's late. Just scrolling through TikTok. Hi from Thailand. Cool, cool. Oh, I'm jealous of thinking about how warm it is in Thailand right now. Ooh, in Ukraine. That's rough. Ciao from Italia. Nice. Usually go to Italy every year, but I haven't been this year. I've been doing this crazy house renovation, so I haven't been able to make my annual Italy trip. Atlanta, nice. I used to live in Savannah for a very short amount of time. 1 p.m. there, is that right? Oh, yeah, you guys are only 6 hours back, I think. Nice. I never made it over to Atlanta, though. I just never made it to the big city. I did Old Town Savannah a lot, though. Philadelphia, nice. East Coast. 6:58. Ooh. AM or PM? I just have to assume AM. That's early. More impressive if you're on here early. What are you doing up so early? I'm not a morning person, so. Yeah, I'd be surprised if anybody from the West Coast joined of the States because it's 7 o'clock there, so it'd be like, I guess it's 10 a.m. I think. Is that right? 9? 7? About that. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Chicago. It's nice. Is it already cold there as well? Is it cold in Chicago? The only time I hear about Chicago is when it's unbelievably cold. So hopefully you're doing okay. You guys got snow yet? Is it already that time of year for you guys? Okay, I'm gonna turn off this music just because I find it super distracting. Okay. It's nice when it's just to fill the silence, but it's chilly, but not horrible. Nice, good. Cool, we'll get started in just a couple more minutes. Lots of questions about junior roles. Is this your first time joining one of my lives before? Or are you all, because I feel like I see a couple familiar names, but mostly new usernames. So unless you guys are changing them, I guess maybe you haven't been here before. Hola from Spain. Oh, very nice. I was almost going to go to Barcelona just a few weeks back. I was going to take my mom there. She was visiting. Nice, first time. Cool. But I couldn't squeeze it in. Just couldn't squeeze it in the short amount of time she was in Europe. First time on your live. Oh, hey from Nigeria. Nice. Okay, lots of first timers. Nice. Awesome. Mm. So maybe while we wait just for a few more questions to roll in, second time, cool. If you guys don't know me or haven't seen like my content or whatever on any of the social stuff, I have about 13 years of experience. I'm a principal designer at one of the biggest kind of travel companies in the world, actually, but absolutely massive in Europe and trying to win in the US as well. I've done everything from freelancing to design agencies to in-house agencies to startups to now working in big tech for the last kind of 7 years. I've helped and mentored dozens of designers at this point to get all the way up through to be lead level and design management level. I've done management, but I didn't like it so much, so I stuck on the IC track, which now I am in the highest role that you gave the best advice. Oh, cool. Thanks for coming back. That's awesome. Last time you were here. Awesome. I hope I can do it again. But yeah, so I'm in the highest kind of ranking individual contributor role. So a lot of my work is very strategic. So I can speak to every level of design role, but realistically, right now, my day to day for the last many years has been working with kind of leadership, director level, senior director, VPs, C-suite folks, and stuff like that on strategic topics and stuff. So that's who I am if you guys are a first timer. So I'm going to scroll back to the top and start where ever I see the first question start. Okay. How do I become a product designer? First things first is I would just go grab my learning guide. There's so many free resources out there for you guys now. If you're very brand new or you're just like contemplating about becoming a product designer, start with the free stuff, which my learning guide links to a lot of. See what product design actually entails, and then go from there and expand kind of your knowledge from there. It really depends on what type of learner you are, whether you should take a boot camp or some sort of more formal education, or you can be a self-taught person. But that depends on a lot of your logistics, your ability to be super self-driven and not necessarily need too much oversight or guidance. But yeah, so check out my learning guide. It's over in my profile. It's a great place to start because it's just a huge aggregated list. And it's because I had got this question so many times. That's why I created it. What makes a great product designer? It really depends on what level you're at. But I would say a product designer, a really great one, is excellent at visual skills and excellent and has a large toolkit of UX methodologies as well. So they do quite a lot of, they can employ quite a lot of research methodologies as needed. So you see a problem and you can be like, oh, that needs a competitive analysis, or that needs some impression testing, or that needs a design sprint. You just can pull from this breadth of goodies, your goodie bag, and be able to produce it. But then on top of that, the final thing that you actually produce is just absolute high quality. That all encompassing makes a great product designer. Anything beyond that, when it comes to mentoring other designers, that's extra. But that's what makes product designers a very good balance between those things. You're a junior designer and you started your first UX UI job 3 months ago. Hey, that's cool. Sabina, I think I'm saying that. Congrats. That's super cool. And how can I conduct UX research with a limited budget? Any advice? Ooh, this gets a little bit tricky because it depends on what type of company you work for. Because if you want to go total grassroots, the way that I would recommend is potentially looking at, you can look at Reddit forums, you can look at to Facebook groups to find your target audience, like relatively for free, and then test with those people. But it depends on what kind of product you're working on. If it's like a banking app or anything that has like too many legalities or anything like that, you're gonna have a harder time trying to test. But I would say definitely look into usertesting.com or look at some of the sites like that out there. I do believe they have more accessible budget. What's the other one? Usertesting.com. Usabilla. If you guys have recommendations as well, please drop them in the chat. I always have a hard time recalling specific names. User testing is huge. Optimizely is also a really good one. But I'm sure that there's other, because that's the thing is these are the big names that I'm thinking of, but there's always smaller companies coming up under that are looking to do like a freemium version. So you might be able to find your target audience on there. So yeah, that would be the way I would be doing some usability testing. Or if you're looking to do interviews or surveys, that's also a great way to try to find people, to find your target audience for, yeah, kind of whatever you need to be researching. Hopefully that's helpful. But if anybody also has other recommendations, please again drop them so we can help out. Okay. Ryan, any advice for a mid-level product designer in the market and to find a job? You've been applying for 5 months. Ooh, yeah, that's rough. Straight up, every time I come on here and I say this as well, the market is tough. The market is still super, super oversaturated. Tons of people looking for jobs, tons of applicants applying for each and every single job. The one thing that I keep encouraging people to do is consider your options outside of just getting a full-time job. Consider freelancing. Look to sites like Upwork, and I think Envato Studio used to have some. I know there's other sites where you can list your services as well. If maybe the problem is you don't have enough kind of relevant real world experience, maybe you can go get some through freelancing. That's how I transitioned from development to design as well. So I don't, again, without having a real conversation with you, it's hard to know, to pinpoint exactly what might be going wrong. But a lot of it falls down into, I get the sense that people wait to get that full-time job. They just apply. You see these TikToks, thousands of applications on spreadsheets and stuff like that. But just don't put all your eggs in that kind of corporate basket or even company basket. Keep doing that, but look into maybe earning some income with freelance, because the experience you get through freelance as well can make a great case study for you and better position you to get that company position, if that makes sense. Okay. I got a chance to get the UX Google certification, but it would be in addition to my Psych Cognitive BA. Okay. The UX certificate though are you talking about the free one? Because you got a chance to do that. Not sure what you're saying. Maybe there's a follow-up. Maybe it's down. Or I will need a boot camp to work on portfolio. Oh, okay. Are you asking maybe if you can just do the UX certificate, or do you need a boot camp on top of your BA? Yeah, definitely go ahead and just honestly just take the Google one because it is free, and then go from there. See if you feel like you need to expand. Again, I always go back to this. I think there's no right or wrong way to pursue the path into UX design. It really depends on what type of person you are. I took a formal education because I'm better and learn better with accountability and with kind of somebody overseeing me saying, you're doing this right, you're doing this wrong. That's where like a boot camp or more of a, yeah, like a BA kind of comes in handy. If that's your learning style, that's probably your route. If you are a super go-getter and you can just crank out information or crank through information and kind of consume, and you're really proactive and stuff like that, then maybe you don't need it. But yeah, it really boils down to how you learn best and what's going to best position you, and just being really reflective and self-aware to know which one to go with. Oh, I'm currently in school for UX design. How do you think the election will impact the job market? Yikes. Well, we've already seen its impact on the stock market and freaking Bitcoin or crypto. The tech job market, I honestly don't. Yeah, I think if there's going to be any impacts to the US job market specifically, I think we'll see that in the years to come. I don't think there's going to be any sort of immediate kind of impact, but I'm not an economist either, so I have absolutely no idea, nor do I have any idea what could come out of this election person who's been elected. So it's really hard to say because the one who got in is very unpredictable. But in general, I wouldn't see any sort of kind of major changes. Like we are plateauing. I've been seeing some numbers out there that UX positions and design positions as a whole are on a slow rise again post-pandemic, but then companies are still having layoffs as well. Hard to say. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry. Bup, bup, bup. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys are just dumping questions. It just skipped me down to the. Okay, no, I got it. Okay. Hey, Rajat. Yeah, if there's any kind of points about my house, it's because that's all I post on my Instagram. It's because I'm doing a major house renovation. And if you just saw my story like 20 minutes ago, it's because I was working on some molding for this beam that was put in. I had some crazy steel construction put in, and I'm trying to blend my old 1920s house with the new kind of extension that was put in. I didn't want to do this renovation, but the previous owners lied to me about the foundation actually existing in the back of the new extensions. So it's been a labor, and I'm making some improvements as I go, but it has been a slow, agonizing process. But thank you for the encouragement because I need it. Okay. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, I have 2 years of experience with product design. What I struggle with currently is landing a job. Yeah, I think, how do I find unpaid jobs to build experience? Yeah, I think a lot of people are struggling to land a job right now. And you could be a really excellent designer, and the market is just so full right now. So even if you have 98% of something that somebody's looking for, and that would normally get you hired before, if somebody has the 100% and has the specific experience working on the specific product that company is hiring for, they're going to outwin you, unfortunately. And then just like the odds are not necessarily in everybody's favor in that degree. I do think one of the things I'm thinking about, because my company just announced that they're doing layoffs next year as well, and nobody's safe, is that building and reinvigorating my network, because my network has saved my ass so many times. And I say this not lightly because I'm an introverted person and I hate how much like a good, strong, like solid network actually helps you in this career. I wish it could just be your skills and that could be it. But I have to say that, yeah, making those connections ahead of the time you actually just need a job and are desperate is the time to do it, because that's just how humans work, right? If you have this connection, say, I just got laid off. Let me know if you need anything. You might be top of mind for them. I literally have people send me jobs that they're like, Miranda, I think you'd be a great fit for this. I'm like, bro, I got a full-time job. Like, what do you want from me right now? So yeah, keep that in the back of your mind. If you're not thinking about that aspect or that side of your job hunt, do think about it. How do I find unpaid jobs to build experience? My biggest advice, and I think I have a video that is going to explain this a little bit better, which is my suggestion would be to contact brick and mortar, do I call them companies, businesses around your local area, or volunteer. So if you're specifically looking for unpaid jobs, everybody needs a website. Everybody's got an app idea. Everybody's ready for unpaid work. And I did the same thing. I jumped on the second I had an unpaid opportunity. And that was on top of my two full-time jobs that I had at the time, because I just knew that's the way into this industry. And that was like 13 years ago. Yeah, animal shelters is always a good one, community centers. But honestly, your local bakery, your local whatever. I have a little video that talks about like how you can do an intro on this, which is basically to go to their website, their existing product, and say, hey, I see you're trying to do this. I think you could improve this way. I'm offering my services for free or very cheap. Do you want to work together? Cold email, 10 out of 10. If you're not a social person, I feel you. But that is a good way to do it. And it's also a good way to still choose something that aligns with you as well, something that, because you're always going to get higher quality work out of something that you are actually invested into. If you were just to put your free services on Upwork and somebody's, I have this app idea for a gambling app and I want to take people's money, you're going to be like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe that's not your morals. Wouldn't be for me. But I'd just be like, oh shit, I really don't want to work for this person. But if you're like, oh, I love like Yaniv down at the local bread shop, and man, his website just sucks so much and is barely usable. I really think I could help him out. Yeah, you're gonna get a better project out of that. I've been thinking about redesigning my bowling league's website because it is atrocious and so hard to use. So I'm like seconds away from being like, please give me your login to your hosting service because this is bad. What you're doing to people is awful. Okay. Hi from a fellow gaming UXer. Oh, gaming. Gaming UX. Wicked cool stuff. My partner is actually super interested in gaming stuff, and he makes me watch gaming UX design videos. But they're fascinating. The UX side of gaming is really interesting. How do you think the UX skills transfer from what domain to another? So if you're going from gaming to, let's say, app to, let's say, web, I would say there's a good, I'm going to say up to 75 to 80% overlap. The general principles of UX remains the same regardless of platform or domain. If this is what your question is, I'm hoping I'm getting this right. But there's different nuances once you get into it, right? So if you're on app and you understand React, and then you understand that you can actually embed into third-party services through apps and stuff like that, that's that extra 20%. It's like the special things that you can do on top of the just the foundational kind of understanding of that domain. That's that extra 20%. But when it really comes to advocating and building good user experiences across the board, I think the domain knowledge really transfers either way. But then there are specialties. So if you are an app designer, you are a web designer. But that's why I also think we've seen over the last uh, probably 7, 8, 9 years, less like web design specific roles, game designer specific or UX design specific roles, and you get more of product designer. And then maybe they probably do both. Most all of the designers in my company go cross-platform. Not in a game. I haven't done any gaming design specifically, not even like app games or anything like that, but like actual, let's say, video games or anything. I haven't delved into that domain, but I have known quite a few who do it. And again, the principles and things seem really aligned. What am I missing? Hang on. I think I'm missing a part of this question. The character limit does not. Oh, okay. Oh, we're talking about, sorry. Yeah, we're talking about user testing programs, give rewards for participating. Yeah, if you guys have never done that, if you never signed up as somebody to do usability testing, one, you can get paid. Not very much, but you can get paid. And then it's just interesting to be on the other side of it because you ask so many people to test your products and prototypes and stuff. I've done it. It's interesting. Okay, yeah, we've got user testing, user feel, user speak. You know what one I used to use? I don't even know if it's around anymore. I think it was like user Bob or something. It was this dude, and it was $1 USD a user. Yeah. Ooh, is it still? The site's still up. Oh, they have a copyright of 2022 though, which is not promising. But yeah, I've used user Bob before, and it's not great, but it's very cheap. One USD a person. And I've used that in a crunch. And I'm sure there's other companies like that out there too. In UX and product design with one company for 15 years and having a hard time getting interviews. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And you've never seen it like this either. Yeah. Are you at that company right now, but you're looking to move, or you've been made redundant at that company and you're trying to find a job after the 15 years? Curious. Any advice how to make the new UX employees land softly in the company? I'm the only UX at the moment. Oh, so are you asking because maybe there's another UXer coming in and you're looking to help them land smoothly? Is that the case? I'll try to answer it in that way, if that's what you mean. So you're the only UXer, but you're not necessarily the manager of that UXer. So the best thing you can ever do is just have a very structured onboarding experience, whether you are their manager or not. And if you're the only UXer, I even assume you don't have like a craft manager, you don't have a design manager. 30, 60, 90 is always a good plan. Maybe that's a little bit of an overkill, but it's definitely like you need to speak to these people, you need to read these documents. And then I'm personally a person who will never shy away from what the real experience of working for this company is like. I don't feel the need to paint it in a different light. It's like, this person is extremely difficult and really doesn't understand the value of UX. Watch out for that person. Like, I will serve it up on a plate so that the person doesn't have to learn those hurdles themselves. And if you guys are be working super closely together, I had a similar question on another live, which is just to build rapport with them, build a very collaborative working relationship. If you're the only two UXers, you want to vote together. And it can be really cool or it can be really shitty. Could be depending on that person or depending on how you guys start off as well. But building rapport, figuring out maybe your ways of working, roles and responsibilities divides is super important because that's where a lot of conflict can come. You can step on each other's toes really easily. But if you clear all that structure up at the start, you will be way better off. I've been in that situation several times and I've learned that the hard way. How to handle tasks with AI products, example from note taking to podcast or any new AI unknown flows. How to handle tasks. Oh, I'm not sure I understand that question. Like how to design for those types of products? From note taking to podcast. Oh, sorry, UX Premium. I don't fully understand what you're asking. Is it to design those things? Is it to learn about AI? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, cool. Suggestions not sponsored. Yeah, good to make that clear. Okay. To build a portfolio with real life experience, not just hypothetical models, self-guided projects. Yeah. The Google. Oh, yeah. But that's the thing is I still think the Google one is probably obviously easy entry and it's a good start because it's free and made by Google. But it's not going to be the last thing that you do. You're not going to do that and get a job. So you probably want to go out and figure out how to structure your case studies, figure out what truly doing kind of the design process actually is, and then see if you want to start to dabble into freelance, you want to go further into the self-taught route, or you end up taking a boot camp where they work with real clients and things. Honestly, the only boot camp that I've looked at in depth and actually 100% recommend is Springboard. I know that there's bad takes on it and really good takes on it, but looking through their curriculum, it sets you up. If you do it properly, you get crazy guidance, you get a community around you with peers that you do peer feedback with. You get, set up with a hiring manager to review the last stages when you're getting into doing those jobs. You get real world experience. It's just, yeah. So boot camps can really set you up quite nicely and they can give you that kind of hand holding guidance and oversight, right? That's my biggest thing is I would hate to go down the self-taught route and be like, oh, I have just spent a month learning something that is really not relevant or good to put on my resume. That's my actual nightmare. But it just depends. And it depends on your kind of network and stuff as well. If you have a great mentor, blah, blah, blah. As UX designers, do we need to learn to code or be UX engineers or just Figma? So my kind of general stance on this is, do you need to learn to code? Absolutely not. There are so many roles out there that do not require coding. There are more now than there were even when I was starting because people were like, oh, we shouldn't have designers code. That kind of, those are two different things. That's like too much to ask of somebody. However, there are UX engineers, there's front end UX designers. There are roles that do require you are more on the spectrum of kind of coding and doing the UI side of things. Especially when you get into things like design ops and stuff like that, you could be designing the components and then building them. You're building design systems like all encompassing. Yes, that exists as well. And then you have the full spectrum of maybe you have no coding experience, maybe not even good at the visual skills, but you're very good at the UX and research side. Those roles exist as well. UX is a full spectrum and it goes from hardcore coding to hardcore research. And then you have visual design sitting somewhere in the middle, and then you sit somewhere on that spectrum. And it just really depends on what you want to be doing at the end of the day, like what you're good at. Can you probably get paid a little bit more, leaning more into the development side of things? Yes, but is it harder work? Yes. And will you, and almost, there are very few use cases, and I used to be one of these. They used to call front end designers who also did front end unicorns or ninjas, and I myself was a unicorn, having a development background. But you just don't get as high of quality of implementation from the design because you don't have the designer pushing the developer to go a little bit further. You almost design with the constraints in your mind. And if you're not an excellent, absolute stampede developer, you're gonna design around your own skill set, and it might not be as good as maybe a full-time developer as well. I found that to be my case, and I wanted to do more. And when I started working with developers, there was just more of, oh, it could be like this or that, or they knew different coding languages, or it was on different platforms, especially when React started to come out. Yeah, to answer your question, no, you absolutely do not need to code. Are there roles out there that you can be coding for? Totes, totes my goats. Just depends on what you want to be doing. Struggling with networking. I feel like that's my biggest obstacle. Yes. Networking sucks, in my opinion. Some people thrive at it. If you're one of those, bless you. But man, I am socially awkward and I don't love it. I'm one of those people that just gets drained from social stuff. I'm saying this and I'm going to speak on a panel tomorrow at a conference in Amsterdam. I'm just going to talk to a bunch of people. But that's different. Okay, that's different than networking. The way that I started out networking, introvert that I am, is I did start just to go to meetups, and like meetups where there was talks and stuff like that. Just putting yourself into that type of environment gives you a higher probability for somebody to talk to you, even if you aren't the most proactive in talking to other people. Or maybe you can have group workshops or almost a forced kind of interaction rather than, again, breaking that silo yourself. But then the other way to do it is just one on one. I love a one on one far more than I love like a group networking thing. So sitting down with somebody and just picking their brain, buying them a coffee or lunch or something like that is a great way to start networking as well, just within your local area. The other thing to do is just making yourself known. Honestly, starting on this little content creation journey that I've been on, I know some names. I know some names. Like if somebody was desperate, hey, I'm looking for a designer, people who have commented on my stuff, they share my LinkedIn post. We have a back and forth on maybe things that they're sharing or some or I'm sharing or something like that. Those names are top of mind for me. So if I see that they're looking for work and I see an opportunity that I feel like aligns with them, and then I go vet them in some way, shape, or form, because I'm not going to make a recommendation without doing that. That's just super smart. I've never met these people before in my life. I've never sat down with them one on one necessarily, but they're in my like passive network almost. And just through interacting with content and things that I share, maybe that's something to consider as well. There's quite a few UX content creators, and I say that very lightly because there might just be some really educated people on LinkedIn sharing stuff. You can start interacting with what they're sharing more, getting more involved in kind of the stuff that they're putting out there. It might be just a nice, very subtle way to make yourself a little bit more present for them. And then if something aligns, the timing aligns with like work and they're looking for something and you're looking for something at the same time, maybe an opportunity pops up. So yeah, you gotta be think think outside of the box. Yeah. Okay. For a senior designer interviewing for a staff role. Oh, interesting. Any tips for a senior designer interviewing for a staff role? Do you have any management experience? No, that's it. You don't. It's one of those things where you don't really have experience until you get that type of role. Curious. I wonder how many kind of now, okay, I'm really jumping to the conclusion a staff role is that you are basically a design manager, because that's how I've understood it to be in the industry. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go off this rant anyways. So if you're a senior designer and you're moving into, let's say, yeah, the lead slash management role, best thing that you can do is, oh, actually, did I write an article about this? Hold up, hang on. Maybe I'll just go off those points. Level up their product strategy. Yeah, actually, I did. What you need to know if you're a designer thinking of getting into management. I have an article on Medium about this, but I will give you the TLDR. Yeah, I would just, if you're getting into it, I would start off by like just being very casual and like getting to know your team or whoever you're overseeing, build rapport with them, sit down one on one, kind of understand what their goals and aspirations are before trying to do anything. I think this is a pretty common thing. I don't really see people jumping right into this, but take the time, get to know everybody, and then also just be like transparent. I've known a couple managers who get in and they're like, I have to be the best staff designer and act like I've been doing it for 20 years. It's no, come just really make an open forum for feedback and say, hey, if you have any problems, like I'm learning this, we're going to learn this together. If you have any struggles at any time, let's just have this open kind of forum. Super important, because if you come in with the mentality of I'm the staff designer, I am the person, I am the manager, and there is no room for any sort of input on that, it's not the way I would go about it. A lot of people do, and then it is what it is. But if I'm ever new at something, I'm like, what do you guys think? Is this the way to do this, or should we do better? But yeah, really trying to understand what goals, objectives are. And then I would say look for, and these are things you can talk about in an interview, because I know you're talking about what do you do for interviewing. But if they're going to ask you, what would you start to do? Like, what would be some of the first stuff that you're looking into somebody becoming a staff designer? I think it really depends on your experience. But if you're a senior designer, really ramp up your experience on mentorship. And if you don't have any, you should not be applying for a staff role, because that's like the closest thing that you can do to actually managing people is mentoring. And if you have successful use cases like, oh, I mentored this person and they were able to get a promotion, that's the kind of stuff you need. Or they were underperforming and you made them overperforming. Something along those lines is super key. So ramp those kinds of things up. And then the best advice that I wish more people would go off of is if they talk to you about like, how would you go about, I don't know, what's your like management style or something like that? Obviously it's person to person, but mine is showing by example. I never expect anybody to lean too much into my title or think my title means anything. I feel like you should question everybody, no matter what their title is. But yeah, that you can prove you are the kind of holder of design quality and output, and then find some way to emphasize that in the interview as well. Because yeah, if you're doing staff design, you're overseeing people, you need to help them be at quality. You should be the epitomization of what quality in design output is. And then also one more thing. This is really not, I was very unprepared to answer this question because it's very haphazard, but the other thing is, what do you do if you're limited in your skills? Let's say you have a service designer for some reason. You have absolutely zero experience doing anything with service design. What do you do in that scenario? They really want to up their skills. You don't have the skills or experience to help them. What do you do? Find somebody else. Help them find somebody with the experience, find somebody to mentor them in that topic is the way to go about it. Best place to find survey takers and interview subjects for discovery portion of passion projects. Yeah, I think we were just talking about some of these. So Rajan and a few other people posted in the chat. You've got user testing, user peak, user feel, and I was talking about user Bob. But also then you have things like, I just had it, my Facebook groups. You can find particular kind of target audiences, Reddit as well, those kind of things. So yeah, look, that's where I would start anyways. But yeah, especially when it's passion projects and stuff. Yes, you want to keep it as cheap as possible. Also look for free, oh my gosh, trials, like 7-day trials or something like that. Even for the big guys, I think they do stuff like that. So if you can time that quite nicely and you like have your test and everything prepped to go, and you can do it in under 7 days, do the free trial. How do you align business goals with user needs in your design process? Oh my God, I was just writing an article about this. Let's talk about articles forever, okay? How do you align business goals with user needs in your design process? So, the very practical way to do that, let me give you an example. So, you have a business need, and let's say you have you've understood your company has a quarterly goal to, I don't know, increase its contact rate by 7%, right? And you have, on the other hand, so that's one side, they want to increase their contact rate by 7%. Then you have the user needs. Users need it to be easy, simple, whatever, to contact and get a quote. We're making it up as we go. Okay, but what you know is that the contact form is breaking so many best practices and conventions, and you have a hypothesis that it's actually increasing the bounce rate. And then you have the call customer service, which basically doesn't work, but you just think you have a hypothesis that so many people are just exiting and going finding another company because the contact form is too complicated to use. So that's in turn how you tie user needs, right? Users want to contact, the company wants to be getting those kinds of inquiries in contact, and that's how you mirror those two things together. In general, even if you look at, let's say, a funnel, typical funnel for an e-commerce site, it's like the company wants people to buy more things. Great. The user needs are they want everything to be streamlined, super easy to understand. So you can potentially look at UX metrics like time on task, or you can look at things like even doing a heuristics and looking at cognitive load of the funnel and saying, these are the reasons you're not meeting your business goals, right? You tie those kind of things, or you can look at your sus metrics and say, everybody gets through, the people who even get through this funnel rate it very poorly. And they're very unhappy with it. They made it through just purely on perseverance, but everything is telling us that we're probably losing so many people due to friction. And then that's how you tie the things together. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm riffing off the top, but we're skipping. Hello again. Chidera. Okay, I remember that name. Very cool. Thanks and welcome back. I have Figma and UX experience. Do you have an open role? Nope. Designers. Yeah, designers. Yep. I have updates from the Farmers Market League. Yes. Okay. Oh, tell us. I'm so curious. So for everybody who doesn't know, Chidera, I think, was on a previous live. I don't remember how long ago it was now, but basically I was talking about this cold call kind of thing. If you're going to look, if you're, I think you're just laid off, right? Like not that long after, and you were like at the farmer's market looking for like leads about doing some design work or something like that. If I'm doing this a disservice, please tell me. But you were already doing that right after getting made redundant. And now you have updates from said going to the farmer's market and getting leads. So now I'm super excited. Okay. Vietnam. Where am I from? I'm from the States. From America, I'm specifically from like the Seattle, Washington area, but I live in the Netherlands and I have for quite some time now. Nice. You want to start writing articles on Medium, but you don't know where to start. How to start, where to start. Dude, it's free. Just literally go make an account. And I think the first thing it says is start writing. Just do it. It doesn't cost anything. So yeah. Do you have any tips for cover letters? Are cover letters really vital to applying for a position? I need to take a drink. I am of the opinion that cover letters need to die away with just everything else in technology. I think cover letters are a joke. Requiring them is absolute joke. Not like people writing them or anything like that, but companies who require cover letters, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Because, I'm sorry, you're a designer? Like, what am I going to gather from your cover letter that I'm not going to get from your resume and portfolio? It's just one more thing designers have to do on top of having a portfolio. Not very many anything related to the design, but think of all the other job industries where you don't have to have a portfolio. A resume is sufficient and you just do an interview. We have to have a whole ass portfolio, and then you want us to do a resume, and then you want a cover letter? Do you want my left arm as well? I have a very strong opinion about cover letters. Now, let's be very realistic. Some companies require them. Maybe you're working for a bank. Maybe you're applying for the government. They're just going to be stuck in legacy and stuff like that. So my tips for cover letters would be to use AI, have basically a blanketed template of something that you can easily convert into being specific to that job role. It's same thing goes with your resume, right? You always want to be highlighting what that company and particular job position is highlighting in their job description. So if they're looking for high visual design, prototyping experience, usability testing experience, for example, those should be called out in your cover letter. Top 3 to 5 skills in some way, shape, or form, or whatever experience, design experience, whatever, design thinking, those keywords should be called out in your cover letter for 2 reasons: because of the systems that all these cover letters and resumes are running through now, but as well as just to hit home, you're looking for this, I got it. And that should be, as much as it sucks to curate your portfolio and everything every single time, if you can find a way to create a systematic approach to that, would be my tip. Just so that the first thing that person glances is, oh, this person does have, they say they have exactly what we're looking for. And then let's see if you prove that in your portfolio. But yeah, those are my thoughts. We got some age questions, I see, but I'm scrolling back up. Hang on. You're very helpful. Thank you. You mentioned an article. Is it done yet or not? I'd love to check. I don't know which one we're talking about, but if it's the one about management, yes, it is posted. If you just find UX Survival Guide on Medium, you will see it there. I think it's top, it's within the last 5 that I posted. The one I'm working on right now is about how designers can make more impact past the UI. So I don't know if that's going to be super relevant yet. But I will be posting that Monday regardless. So if you just go to my Medium by Monday, you will have both. And you'll be set. Okay. Update it was nerve-wracking prepping for the discovery calls, but you did them. That is cool. I'm sure it was being like completely on your own. Yeah, being in this kind of cold call situation for these potential clients that you're getting at the farmer's market. I can imagine that's pretty intimidating. Oh, okay, okay. 20 years of experience, Rachel's here. Wow, you got me beat. I wonder what you think about the guru situation. And what I mean by that is that we have a lot of gurus, Peter M., Dom Norman, yep, Nielsen Norman, etc. Is there more to that? Or I want to hear what you think about the restorative state of user experience in terms of this. It feels old to me, to be honest, and I wonder if there's any new ideas or people I should pay attention to. Oh, okay. You had to type that through a lot of comments. Thanks for powering through the character limit on that one. Yeah, I think, yeah, gurus is a good name. I haven't heard them called that, but I think it stands true. Jared Spool is one as well. I think he's one of the only ones who's really himself kept more up to date, and I don't know, he's just still consistent with what's going on with the UX industry. The other ones, like Don Norman, definitely not. Nielsen Norman Group, I think for the most part, they just have an organization now. They have a lot of younger people working for them. They just have a lot of people working for them. Yeah, their principles and everything, I think still a lot of what designers and everything should still live by. In terms of people to be paying more attention to, I don't think it's the same. Like, I think we're past like guru, they like created UX as it is. Like, we're the state of kind of user experience and just like information in general, we're no longer in that phase anymore. We have content creators, we have very talented, experienced content creators. There's names that come to mind is like Chris Dew, and forgetting her name, but she runs the UX Goodies socials accounts and stuff like that, and really talented, really articulate and well-formed device being out there. But it's spread. I wouldn't say that they're gurus because there's not, like you listed, I think all of them. There's like a top 5 who you can point to, and Steve Jobs and like those type of people are like, they basically invented the industry for what it was. But now it's spread out a lot more, and there's just a lot more information by a lot more people, that I think we'll never be at the point where we're like at guru level again, just because the access to information is so much more vast than what it was when those guys were around, right? Like in like basically the internet being invented. You want to join my class? What class? Should I make a class? I've been thinking about making some lessons. I've been like, it's been on my to-do list to make a couple very like poignant lessons and stuff like that, but not a whole. I've taught classes before. I've been a professor, an adjunct professor, and it's a lot of work. And you are not paid for all the work, let me tell you. It's just, but it's hard stuff. Okay, is it too late to start in UX and UI career at 36? Thoughts on the career being oversaturated? So first off, absolutely not. The only thing is, are you a 36-year-old? Because I'm 32, going on 33 real quick. So I'm not far off of you at all. But to be getting into it, are you a techie, just in general? Do you love tech? Do you keep up with tech trends and like stuff like that? Then you're probably perfectly positioned to be going into it. Do you like just to naturally use a lot of apps and do a lot of things, be online a lot, kind of stuff like that? You're probably great. Do you like things changing a lot? The only reason I say that is because I think for the vast majority of people, and maybe it's only previous generations, but they stagnate, right? If you aren't in something that's ever changing and don't want it to be, you can get just, I want just this consistency and I want that to change. You can't be that way in tech. You just can't, no matter what age you are. So if you like things to change and you just naturally gravitate towards tech, amazing. Yeah, it is really oversaturated right now. Yeah, we're still, yeah, coming off the back of all the big tech companies, big and medium sized, dumping off a load of their pandemic workers. I'm going to call them that. So there's still a lot of people searching. But if you can persevere through it, if you're in a situation, it can be incredibly rewarding, both aligned with like freedom rewarding, but also financially rewarding as well. If you can power through it in your position too, but it's not as easy as it used to be to get in. That is absolutely for sure. It took you 5 months to finish your portfolio. Yeah. I think we've all been there at some point. Portfolios are absolutely painstaking. Yeah. Especially if you're not in any sort of crunch time, like if you're not like, oh, I have this interview or I have this job application I want to apply, it can just linger on in the background. And then also, sorry, it's making me do a puzzle, seeing if I'm a real person. Oh, by the time, if you've done it, if it takes 5 months, if it takes 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, by the time you finish, it's already going to feel outdated a lot of the time. At least that's my experience. If it's taken too long, I'm like, oh no, like it already, I need to refresh it again. Uh, yeah, okay. Scrolling back up. Ba, ba, ba. I should probably move faster through these, probably, right? Maybe. Agree, cover letters are ridiculous. Yes, totally. Oh, Evan's another name I recognize. Could be any Evan, though. I went to a conference aimed at UX leaders, directors, and it felt very out of touch with the times. Oh, Rachel, yes. Conferences are really hit and miss. Like, really hit and miss. I have strayed away from conferences over the last 5 to 7 years because I feel exactly the same. Actually, it's also the same reason I stopped pursuing my master's degree in basically UX design because it felt so out of touch with what was actually going on in the industry. And luckily, I'd already started working. So I'm like, wow, you guys have no idea what's actually going on. Okay, cool. But yeah, I will recommend just your 20 years experience. I went to the Ways conference. Bias subjective opinion, which is I presented at the Ways conference, but I did go to a lot of talks at the Ways conference and it was very refreshing. A lot of the talks were very like, I think just a new look at like how design can really contribute to overarching business goals and stuff like that. Like it was very much a leadership conference, but I don't know. I just found it really quite invigorating as opposed to many conferences that just roll on about the same old principles and laws and whatever else. And yeah, so if that's one maybe you're looking into, but I'm also hoping to find more conferences like that. Okay, Evan, I've got my bachelor's 4 months ago, and in 2 months, I'll have my 1 year long internship with a major car manufacturer done, and I'm only getting rejections right now for full-time positions. Okay, first on, congrats for getting an internship so quickly. Super cool. Congrats for getting an internship so quickly. Super cool. For getting an internship so quickly. Keep saying it that build your network, try to build like a very strong network because it's a recommendation industry right now. So really pull on your network to make those connections for people who are already working, but don't do it in just a needy way. If you can, try to find a way to add value to them as well. And also, if you have a bachelor's degree, this is also how I transitioned, which was like from a startup unpaid internship. I just went and got freelance experience. So I had low rates, just worked for mom and pop shops, had recommendations for how to approach different like apps, websites, things that they wanted to build. I did that. Getting that experience to help me land like an actual company job. So very quick whistle stop tour of maybe some things to consider if you're just continuing to get rejections. Don't put all your eggs in just like the full-time position basket would be my recommendation right now. Jadair is doing social media marketing too. You're just all over it. Good for you. So you need to give 2 businesses price packages and follow up on the third with a stronger pitch. That's pretty impressive. If you're to the point where they're like, let me see how much you cost, let me see the value. Good on you. That's congrats. I'm sure it's very intimidating, like really breaching new ground, but I feel like you're a lot more successful than other people. Sorry, let me just stop this for a second. Everybody on this call right now who is struggling with finding a full-time position, please follow what Chidera has done, which is going and finding a way to market yourself and your services outside of just doing a full-time position. I think that's proof right here that it can actually work. I mean, you can get leads that way as well. And what's really going to benefit Chidera here is that when you do want to go and get that full-time job, you will have relevant experience to show a new company as well. So thanks for being the proof case for that. You're networking, making content. Yeah, all over it. Love it. It's great. Just got to do whatever is within your wheelhouse to make that network, make those connections and whatnot. Ayana at UX Goodies. Yeah, totally. And there's lots more as well. I just can't think of their names right now, but there are a lot of really good content creators out there. Nice. Oh, you guys are connecting? Love that. Cool. Okay, I'm going to answer maybe just a few more questions. I can feel my voice giving out. It's been an hour. So let's see. Oh, Rachel's recommending Whitney Hess as well. I'm just saying these names. I don't know if I know that person either. Adaptive Path. That sounds so familiar. Ah, I'm gonna have to look into that because that sounds really familiar. How do I get better at critical thinking in UX? Coming up with ideas on the spot. Ooh, practice. Sorry if I read that too fast. How do you get better at critical thinking in UX? Practice. There is really no other way to do it. I would say practice, but also exposure to more senior designers who do it really well. That was one of the best ways that I learned, just seeing how other designers approach not only the type of feedback that they gave, but how they gave it as well. And then I took a lot of that on and incorporated it into my own self in the way that I do things. But yeah, it just takes a tremendous amount of practice. So gain every bit of practice and opportunity that you can to be in a position where you are doing critical thinking. It's the best thing you can do. It's not something you just read up on and magically attain it, unfortunately. Anyone looking to dive into the world of AI as a UX designer, where and what would you advise? The article that I wrote about how to use AI in your design process. The reason I write these articles, guys, is because there are many other people asking me the same questions. But yeah, if it's particularly about how to use it within your process, I got something for you. And it is that article. It is the last one that I shared, and it's called How to Effectively Use AI in Your Product Design Process Right Now. It's no hype, zero hype, no design tools, nothing like that. They're not ready, but go check that out. If it's more about how to start to understand how AI can impact the design solutions that you are then designing, give me some time. No, then I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you get started. Everything that I've read is too hypey right now. Try to just sift through what seemingly is, oh, this new tool and that new tool, and just more about the actual practical part of how AI is going to impact the products that we design. Ugh, that's the best. Mm. Oh, sorry. No, you meant to say the way people work in the fin. Oh, no, hang on. Ah, there's so many of the. Okay, sorry, I'm catching up. I'm trying to understand. No, I meant to say the way people work in fintech and EDU education. Oh, I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, I'm lost. I'm lost on the second part of your question. Yeah, I have to jump to apply for jobs and make those packages. I really enjoy your lives. Cool. Good luck. Yes, please let us all know because when and not, yeah, yes, when and not if, manifest it. Good luck on making those packages and good luck on landing the clients. Um, okay, I think I'm still in college. Should I still pursue UX design or shift now? If you're in a US college, maybe reconsider because it's so stupid expensive. No, it's hard to say. If you can pursue it, if you're willing to put the time and money and effort into it, it can really pay off. But I really think it's only the people who are in a very lucky position who are able to do that and who have the perseverance to stick through it. That's up to you. It depends on your circumstances as well. Okay, I think that's gonna be it. I've done this. We're at an hour. Yep, little over an hour now. You guys have asked me some awesome questions. Thanks for joining. I know this was still last minute. I'm hoping to plan these a little bit further ahead, but thanks so much for joining. And I hope I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for all the awesome questions. All right, cheers. Bye.